Hello everybody, this is Diane. I have been quietly working on a couple of journals. You haven't heard anything about them because I've been trying to do several things at once this week. I've been working on getting flea market items into my shop, and I've been learning how to put digitals in my shop. Thank you, Gail. I have one digital in there. I have not had a chance to go back and add any more yet because I, been working and watching my grandkids and stuff. But and also in between those things, I've been following the Booksmith course that I had purchased well before Christmas. I had made one hollow back spine book, one that I kept for myself because I wanted to experiment, learn how to do that spine, and I didn't want to sell it if it wasn't going to turn out. So I used a book cover that I wanted to keep. So now I'm following the course for the whole book. The cover, these are not book covers. I made these covers out of chipboard, and I just followed her course. I'll have to link. I'll see if I can link her course, or at least I'll put the title of her course in my description box, because I can't remember what the name of the course is, but it it shows how to have the textured design on it. But you can't really see what they look like because there's a coat of Mod Podge. I'm waiting for it to dry. So there's lots of steps. I can't talk about them because that's something you'd have to purchase the course. But there are lots of steps, and there's some waiting in between the steps. And I started these on Sunday, and today's Thursday. But of course, I've been doing other things too in between, and I don't know. I get anxious about trying new things, which is why it's taken me so long to learn how to put things in my shop, digitals in my shop. And I've been like that my whole life, apparently, because I didn't get my driver's license till I was 33 years old. So anyway, I would put it aside and do something else, and then I would get it out again and work on the next step. So anyway, we're getting there. We are getting there. So I'm going to try to set this aside without knocking them over so that I can work on the pages some more. I've got a lot done on the pages. That's something, of course I knocked them over. That's something I could do in between other stuff. But I just feel like I've been so scattered this week. I don't like having so many irons in the fire. I like to start something and finish it. That's just the way I am. So I'm feeling like I'm getting a handle on things now. So these are the pages. I'm making two, obviously, because I had two covers there. And I am using two digital kits. One is from TLC Creates Vintage, and it is called Shabby Roses. So it's basically just a pattern paper. So here's one. Kind of looks like wallpaper, but it's just got some roses, and it looks faded and vintage. But then there are some brighter ones that just have all over patterns. There's a pretty one. I love this one. She doesn't sell on Etsy anymore. I think her shop is still there. If you search TLC Creates Vintage, you would find it, but the shop says it says it's taking a break. But she has a website, so I'll try to find her website and link it. So those are 6 of the pages, and there are more in this other book. The other kit that I'm using is from Mrs. Coggs, and it's one of her kits that has people reading books, and she has 2 of them. One is called A Good Book, I think is called, and the other one is called Second Edition. So that's what this kit is, Second Edition. So I'm using that in different ways in the book, in the journal. Let's see, what else am I doing? Use my reach. Oh, I should say on the back of these pages, I have a stack of papers sitting on top of my printer where I had just printed out a bunch of these like backing pages. So I've got a bunch from Lorna on Tailor-Made Journals, where she does the coffee dyed paper that looks like it's got doilies on it. And I bought that kit from her, and I have it in this cream color and also in pink. And I'm not sure, this might be hers too, I'm not sure, but it's just like a kind of a textured looking pale green. So I've got some papers like that. There's some line papers. So I don't even remember why or when I did it, but I printed off a whole bunch of those kinds of papers that you would put on the backs. You can journal on them. So I just put those pages in my printer and printed off my Shabby Roses papers, and whatever printed on ended up on the back is what it was. I didn't try to match anything up. I just stuck it in there. So there's one of the pink ones, avocado dyed, from Lorna. That one's pink too. And I still have some in there on my printer waiting for whatever project is going to need backing paper. So, okay, so I think that takes care of all the digitals that I used. So here's what I've done so far. I've used Mrs. Cog's images to make this little pocket, and I added this eyelet, and this is just a cut off of one of these papers. I added vintage crochet trim. I have Italian grid paper. This is from an appointment book. I took some colored dyed paper. This was just yellow copy paper that I coffee dyed. I added a little napkin decoupage piece, and then just did some light stamping and stamped the word abundance. I took some of my Dresden plate pieces and again sewed them together and added them. And this is a little piece of vintage trim. It looks like muslin with a tiny green rickrack on it. This is from an old scrapbook. I'm gonna turn this way. No, wrong way. There we go. I'll have to show you what this paper came with. I'll do that when I do the flip through because I don't have the packet in here. I've had that for many years. I have this vintage music sheet, and I'm going to have to reinforce that because it didn't tear. Actually, this one's good, but I'll reinforce it anyway. All the other pages came from a different book, and they cracked when I folded them. I have vintage stationery, and this came with one of Lorna's coffee dye or avocado dyed papers. There's tags and envelopes, so I'm going to be using them also in the books. Let's see, and I've just kind of, I don't know, I'm doing this so different from what I normally do, but it's coming along. I added clusters to some of the pages, and I did some napkin Mod Podge on glassine bags. Oh, and I took some of Mrs. Cog's images and I made these 2.5-inch tags with my punch, and I put some vintage music paper and then just one of her images, and everything's been inked. So that makes a nice tag for in there. So I still have more Mrs. Cog's images to do things with, and I have other elements that I want to try to do things with. So I did a different pocket on the back of each signature. That one has the glassine bag. This is one that was in my stash of ephemera that I made. I made some of these for a recent journal, and this was left over, and then I included one of these tagged little journal cards that I made in a recent video. And then this was from a video that I did called Use Your Stuff. So I thought this looked really nice with this type of journal, and then I just Mod Podged napkin again to an alterations tag. I used rose napkins since the kit is called Shabby Rose. So I'm going to do some of this stuff for this journal. I already sewed on the lace. I have 2 pieces of lace in each signature. I added the clusters. I think, oh, and this. I think that's all I've done. Oh, I did put the back pockets on. Okay. So there's that one. And that one. I gotta take the paper clips off. When your paper is coffee dyed and you want to glue something to it, it's a little hard because the paper ripples and it doesn't keep contact while the glue dries, so I paper clipped it. And then the glassine bag one. So there's different sizes and orientations for the Mrs. Coggs images. I took the ones that are wider to make this pocket and the ones that are narrower for these tags. And then there are big ones. So each journal is going to get a big one. And I just have a few leftover pieces there. I've divided up all the pieces so that each journal gets the same variety, the same shape and stuff of tags, if that makes sense. So what I have to do now is make these front pockets. So I selected these tags, or these cards, and I just have to pick out cutoffs. I thought I had already marked this. Yep, I did. I marked it right there. So I'm going to cut this pocket to size, and I sewed these on, and I'm not going to do that in this video, but I can at least do the prep work. I am using my sewing machine. I haven't taken it to get it adjusted yet because it's working fine, and I'm waiting for it to start not working fine again so that when I take it they will see what I'm talking about. If they looked at it right now, they'd say, what's the matter with it? It's fine. You know, isn't that the way? Oh, I'm not done with these pockets. I have these little vintage appliques, little tiny floral vintage appliques that I bought at a yard sale several years ago. So I'm going to add one to each of these pockets. And it just adds a little something extra. Put the blue one on this one because there are purple tones in the background. So the kit that I put into my shop, digital, is vintage advertising cards. And I just bought those. I think I may have had one, possibly two. The rest I just bought last Saturday. And I loved them. And I'm glad I got to scan them in. But I have lots of antique postcards that I can do. I have tea cards that I can do. I mean, not tea cards. Well, I might have some of those cigarette cards. I probably have some of those I can do. What's supposed to be in there? Oh, I guess I didn't put anything in the pocket yet. Calling cards, that's what I was trying to say. Calling cards. I'm getting some eyelet. I have lots of vintage papers, all kinds of miscellaneous vintage papers that I find at flea markets. So that will get, these will get sewn down, and then I'll add one of the little appliques. Oh, my linens and embroideries too. So, as I can do them, I will do them. I wish I had learned, it's my own fault, but I wish that I had called Gail earlier, but you know, I was busy moving and stuff. But now it's busy flea market season, so I'll be busy putting things in my shop. Busy listing items that I purchase at flea markets. But I will try to make sure that I regularly add digitals to my shop. It's pretty exciting. Because maybe you think it's silly for me to be excited about it, but I am quite digitally challenged. I don't understand it, and I get frustrated easily with it. So to be able to, I'm very proud of myself. No, I had to have my items scanned into my laptop. Well, I didn't have to, but Gail didn't tell me I had to, but she wanted to start from there. And I could scan them in. I did do that. And then she gave me some homework to do to be a little more ready. So it didn't really take long for her to tell me what to do with it. You know, how to list it, and all that stuff. And then we had a nice little gab session, so that was nice. I like all these colors together. This has a stain on it, which could be good for a vintage journal, but just in case somebody's grossed out by it, I will take it off. There's 2 pockets. I need one more. This lady's reading with a little doggy cuddling with her. I love that. So if you want to know how I'm choosing papers, this has a whiter background. This has the whiter background. So I went with this one that has a green background. So this one has a pink background and this one has more white in it. Does it make sense? Sometimes you guys appreciate it when I tell you my thought process behind certain choices. Sometimes I don't really have a reason. Sometimes it's just I like this better and you might not agree. I've had people tell me that I chose the way they wouldn't have chosen, but you know, everybody has their own aesthetic. And I only expect people who like my aesthetic to buy my journals. Which is one of several reasons why I don't do custom orders. I feel so much freer to just do my own thing without worrying about, is the customer going to like this? I figure I make what I like, and then somebody else that likes it will buy it. Just cut off that crinkled part. So New York, no, Pennsylvania, my state, Pennsylvania, has lifted some restrictions. So we are a little more free, but I border New York. So that's where all of my craft stores are and my Sam's Club. Well, Sam's Club is still open. I don't drive up there just to go to Sam's Club. I like to do all my, those pins have glue on them. I use those for sticking in my stuck glue bottles. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, so I haven't been up there since November, and we're toward the end of March or May now. So I can't go to my craft stores until New York opens up more. Okay, so those pockets are ready to be sewn. What else do I need to do? I already did that. I think I've done everything in both journals now, except for actually sewing. So now I guess I just need to figure out what else I'm going to do, how else I'm going to decorate. So this stuff in here is what I've set aside for this journal. And I also have extra bits here from my box of homemade ephemera. I pulled out some mulberry paper for each journal in case I want to make something with them. But I have all these collage bits and other pieces that I thought would go well in these journals if I needed something else. So I just have them setting right there. But I really need to figure out how I'm going to use the rest of the Mrs. Coggs images. I need something in these pockets. So I can take this little coin envelope and do something with it and stick it in, put it in here because there's pink in those flowers. So let's do something with the coin envelope. Looking for a piece of scrap paper. My paper isn't in here. I'll be right back. I'm back. I'm sorry, I'm not moving very fast today. I had to work and my body is aching. I'm gonna get a drink of water. I was messaging with my sisters when I got home from work. But I'm not used to working again, and my feet hurt, my ankle hurts, my back hurts. I had strained a pectoral muscle yesterday, and it's better today, but it's still sore. And I only worked 3.5 hours. And I had to pick up a few groceries. And I said, I'm a old lady wimp. And they're both younger than me, but they both said they're old lady wimps too. So I felt better. I know my one sister, she's not quite 2 years younger than me. She said that they've been doing some yard cleaning and getting ready to plant flowers or whatever they're going to do. But she can't do it for very long because she aches. Her back aches. And the other sister, who is 5 years younger than me, she said she can't do very much yard work either just because she doesn't feel like it. I totally agree with that. I like my sisters. You would like them too. I know you would. So anyway, I'm still moving slow. I work for Hallmark Cards, and I stock the cards and gift bags and whatnot at Walmart, in case you didn't know. And so we weren't working for a while, and the offices, Kansas City offices and the warehouses were shut down. So we weren't getting any stock in. People were still buying the cards because Walmart was open, so people were there buying the cards and trashing the place. So we started working again, like one day a week. My coworker and I, there's two of us that work in that Walmart. We started with one day a week, and that won't work. We didn't have anything to stock the racks with because warehouses hadn't started shipping yet, or hadn't produced anything yet, or whatever. I just got these tickets in a Happy Mail, was it a Happy Mail or was it my swap? I think this was my swap that I did with Pam Dorsch. I'm going to put a ticket right there. I'm just grabbing stuff that's right here on my desk. Okay, I'm going to trim that and then cut it with some pinking shears. So our gift bags were pretty empty. The wall wrapping paper was almost non-existent. The value bags, the cheaper bags that are just, solid colors or dots and stripes and stuff like that, they were completely gone. The cards were getting empty. We still don't have our Father's Day. We got small boxes of Father's Day cards that we would put on our end caps and outposts, but I filled them in or put them in on our regular Father's Day, like the seasonal card aisle, because we never got our big boxes of stuff. So it's not full, but it's got cards in it now. But anyway, our stuff started coming middle of this week. So we're getting slammed with boxes of cards and roll wrap and gift bags and all of it, which we need, but it's really hard. We can't keep up. We will. It's just cards. It's not like I'm in a hospital trying to keep up, I can keep it in perspective. And I realize that it's okay if I can't get everything done in one day. We'll work on it again the next day. And Rachel and I aren't working together. She's working 2 days and I'm working 2 days this week. So we can get a lot more done, of course, if we work together. We're both more efficient, we decided, when we work together. But anyway, I'm just babbling. So I don't know if I'll put something in there or if I'll leave that for the owner to put something in there, but that makes a pretty little item to tuck in there. For this one, I can tuck in the large Mrs. Coggs card. So I'm going to round the corners. And ink the back. When I opened my swap with the extra goodies from Pam, I did a swap on Junk Journal Junkies, and I have a video that shows my journal that I got from her. But she gave me some extras, so some of the pieces I kept out here because I thought they would go nicely with these journals, so I left them out here in case I decided to use them. So that's all ready to go right in there. And then I have this little tag that I could tuck in there. This is just on paper, but it's presentation paper, so it's a good quality. It's not super thin. I'm not going to back it. Just punch a hole in it and I'll ink it. sorted stuff yesterday. I had my grandsons yesterday and they were both doing schoolwork. But I sorted some of the items that I purchased over the last week or so. So I sorted all the little, the vintage gift seals and little gift tags that I bought at the antique market. I think I'll just leave that plain. I don't need to embellish everything. Okay. Now what did I say I needed to do? I was going to just find some use for these. So I have 4 more Mrs. Coggs images, and I have 3 signatures. I think I want to do something here. I want you to be able to open that. I was thinking of lacing something through that, but then you wouldn't be able to open it. But it would be a pretty decoration, so I don't know what I'm going to do. She fell asleep with the book on her lap. I'm going to trim that, make it a little skinnier. Wonder if my paper lace is handy. I don't remember where I put it. Found it in the first place I looked. I'll put that down here and glue her right there. Just use my glue stick. There were 2 envelopes with that pink doily dye on it, so I put one in each journal in the center of a signature, and then I took 2 other envelopes to put in the centers of the other signatures. Here's the one that came with that kit. And then I have envelopes that come with other printables, and I have a bunch of them printed already, so I just went through my stack and chose some. So they're all getting printable envelopes, digital envelopes, in the centers of the signatures. that in there. So let's find a place for one of these journaling cards in this book, or in this signature. I think I might have to reinforce this paper too. I surely wouldn't want you to purchase a journal and then have a page pull out because the stitches tore it. This is one of the, it just cracked a little bit, and it might be okay if I sew it in, but I want to make sure. So I will reinforce it. Oh, you know what I could do with those images is, no, not this one. Maybe on the pink one I could sew one of these, or glue one of those to the back side, but I don't want to cover that up. This one is from TLC Creates Vintage. Some of them were free envelopes. They didn't come with a kit, but I was on her design team for a while, and she has a Facebook group, and she will quite often put on free digitals. So if you go to her YouTube, TLC Creates, either TLC Creates or TLC Creates Vintage, you might be able to find the information where you can join her Facebook group. She does a lot of really nice printables. Oh, I know you're probably tired of watching me ink. I think I need to figure out if I'm going to use that mulberry paper or not. So let's figure that out. I've got mulberry paper. I got this for the one that has the yellow cover, and I got some pink ones. They don't have the glittery butterflies. Let's count the pockets. I have one there on the front half. So just one in the front half of the book, one in the center. And one on the back. So let's find a place to put a pocket. I don't usually like to put them on the plain papers because that's journaling space. I like to put them on these kind of pages. But I don't think this would look very good on that. And what kind of pocket do I want to make? How about a slanted pocket? Cut that butterfly in half, and then there wouldn't be very much butterfly going on. This one I didn't want to use because this is, I don't know if it's a blemish in the paper, but it's a dark spot, a fiber in there that's darker, but that has the best butterfly potential, so we're going to go with that. So I just kind of mark out where I want my angle to go. And then I can put it on here and line up the markings on the cutting line. And then I will back that on something a little sturdier. I try to keep some plain cardstock in here so I don't have to jump up, and because I'm backing stuff all the time with something sturdier. And I want something handy. I don't want to sew through the fragile music paper, so this will get glued on. And before I do that, I'm going to reinforce it. Got some scraps here. That's about the right size, lengthwise anyway. I only want it to be an inch wide, so I'll cut several pieces of this and they'll be ready. I got 4 pieces out of it. So like I said, I had my grandsons here yesterday, and the older one who does charter school, he gets an hour and a half lunch break, and the younger one goes to a small Christian school, but of course he's not going to school right now, but he has a teacher who does a Facebook class. She actually teaches her class with a Facebook video, and then they have assignments for all of their subjects. So the video is only 2 days a week, I think, but he has assignments to do every day. So Adam sits at the dining room table and does his charter school, and Teddy sits at the table I have set up in my office for packing orders. I make sure it's all clear when I know he's coming. I try to keep it clear anyway. And so he's not on a schedule. He just has these assignments he has to do for the week, and his mom divides them up for the days. So when Adam has his break, Teddy can take his break. And so I give them their lunch, and instead of them being on their phones, I put in a video, I put in a DVD. And sometimes I let them try to pick, but Adam is, what is he? He's almost 14. He'll be 14 in a couple weeks, about 3 weeks. And Teddy is 9 and a half. So they can't agree on anything to watch. So I just picked something and said, this is what we're watching on lunch break. And it was the movie from, I think it's from 2014 or 15, I don't remember, but maybe it's older. But it's Hugo. They had never seen it, and I love it. It's kind of steampunk looking, and it's set in France in, looks like 1920s or 30s. And it's so visually appealing to me. And the boys were enjoying it too. But of course we didn't have time to watch the whole thing. So next week, we only watched half of it. So next time they come, we'll finish watching it. I want to finish watching it, but I have to wait for them. Alright, so we added a pocket. And add that tag and maybe this tag that I made. I'll let the glue dry before. This is kind of thick and warped, and it might pop up the edges that I just glued. You know what? I should have added some lace or something there. I can still glue it. It looks like it needs something. Yeah, that looks pretty. I don't want to use this butterfly paper in all of the signatures. That was the only yellow handmade paper that I found. But if I go back and look again, I think I can find some neutrals. I used a lot of green in this journal too, because I just didn't have a lot of yellow stuff. I didn't even have yellow papers, so I dyed green, this pretty green. So it's a yellow and green book. But I don't think I have any green handmade paper either. So I'll look for something more neutral to make pockets in the other signatures. some fiber for that. This is quite thin. I think this was a ball of yarn or fiber that I got at the thrift store once. It's a pretty color though. So since it's so thin, I'm doubling it. Instead of pulling the fiber through, I pulled the reinforcement off. I had to copy dye some paper yesterday, so my hands might still be a little stained from that, because I copy dyed my scrapbook paper. Since I have recently purchased a whole bunch of copy dyed paper, I didn't need excuse me, I didn't need to do any of the plain stuff. So when I do scrapbook paper, I try to do something else to add to my copy dyed stash. So this time I did tracing paper. So I've got some copy dyed tracing paper ready for me to use. So there's that. This was a file folder that I collaged. This is vintage ledger and notebooks for like a course, science course or something. And then Tim Holtz tissue on top of it. Then I have this pink that I can sew her to the back or glue her to the back. I wonder what time it's getting to be. I've been in here a while. 4:30. I didn't want to get too elaborate with the decorations in here because of the time I've spent on the cover. But I have all these things to use, all these elements to use, so I'm using them. Oh, I've been doing this for almost an hour. I've been in here longer than that because I was doing the sewing and stuff like that. Didn't realize that my video had been going that long. I was just thinking I'm tired of talking. Got quiet. And I was thinking to myself, you know, when it's getting to the end of my video time because I start getting quiet. And I looked at the time. So I've been doing it longer than I thought. But I think I've got the elements all figured out. I just have to finish them in the other signatures and then in the other journal. So once I get the cover put together, I don't have to work tomorrow and I don't watch the kids tomorrow, so maybe I'll be able to finish these journals tomorrow, which is Friday. Well, that'll be today when you see this video. This video will be posted on Saturday or Friday. In which case, these journals, they should be done over the weekend anyway. So you can plan on these journals being ready to go in my shop. Yeah, I put it on right side up. Phew. Monday. Sometime Monday. Probably Monday morning. But don't hold me to it, because they're not even done yet. And you know, anything can happen. All right. I'm going to take a break. And hopefully you'll get to see completed journals on Monday. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Have a crafty day. Bye-bye.